Hey you guys, my name is Paige and this is PaigeyTV. Welcome back to my channel. If you don't know by now, I am a black female truck driver out here pushing these 18 wheels. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm here to bring you trucking content from a black woman's perspective. I actually got this idea from Nisha K. She made a video like this a few years ago, and I'm gonna make it now. What did I do before becoming a truck driver? And y'all, I'm gonna say this: I've had a lot of jobs. So yeah, I've had a lot of jobs, y'all. It took me a very long time to figure out what I wanted to do, and I thought going to school was going to solve all my problems. I've went to school and dropped out many of times. Two of the times that I dropped out were because I ended up pregnant, and it was just really hard to go to school and work and be pregnant. You know all that. My very first job ever, I was in 12th grade high school, and I worked at the KRYSTAL restaurant. And I'm not gonna lie, I love that job. Now that I look back on it, it taught me a lot, and I was able to get a lot of places because of that job. And I'm just very grateful. It taught me how to multitask and how to maneuver in stressful situations. So I will be forever grateful for my experience at the KRYSTAL restaurant. Actually, I don't know if he'll see this or not, but if you see this, my manager that was at the KRYSTAL, he's a truck driver now, but he became a truck driver way before I did. So if you see this, comment down below. Let everybody know that you was my manager at KRYSTAL. After that, I worked at a call center for DIRECTV. I was a customer service rep, and I quickly learned that call centers are not for me, unfortunately. I like people, but I don't like everybody. And people used to call and get mad because their bills was past due. And it's like, girl, I'm sorry. I'm trying to give you some credit, but I can't give you everything. And it's people, they talk real crazy when they on the phone, but they won't be doing all that in your face or whatever. After that, I did go back to KRYSTAL for a while. After I left KRYSTAL, I worked at Chatham, or aka Gold Bond, where we package like the lotion and the icy hot. And mind you, all of these jobs are in Chattanooga, Tennessee, my hometown. So after I left Chatham, I worked there for a short period of time. I ended up going to WRIGLEYS, where they make WRIGLEYS, the candy factory, but at that specific factory they made like the Lifesaver mints, Lifesaver gummies, Altoids, and I think that's about it. After I left WRIGLEYS, I ended up working. Where did I work? I worked at a hospital in Chattanooga where I did housekeeping. One of the worst jobs I've ever had. And I actually, while I was working there, I found out I was pregnant. So just imagine being a housekeeper in early in your pregnancy. I would never forget, there was one time this man was really sick and he kept throwing up. And I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to clean throw up, but I ended up cleaning his throw up off the floor, and I was like 5 months pregnant. And after I cleaned his throw up, I went in the bathroom and threw up myself. But you know what? I won't regret that, because actually the next day that man died. And I was just like, oh my God, I was one of the last people to be there for him before his death. And that made me really sad. Well, I was already emotional wreck because I was pregnant. After I left the hospital, I went to Volkswagen manufacturing, where they built Volkswagens. They do the Passats, the Tucson, I think that's how you say it, I don't know. And they also build Audis. They build Audis there. So yes, I worked there for a short period of time towards the end of my pregnancy, and I left there, had my son. I was off for a few months. And then after I left there, I decided that I didn't want to do Volkswagen, because if you live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Volkswagen is very big, and that's a lot of walking. Just walking to your work area was like at least a mile, and I would never do that again. After I left Volkswagen, I ended up being I worked in the security guard shack at Amazon. And that's probably one of my favorite jobs. That was actually my first time being exposed to the trucking industry. And I learned so much then. I met some great people. That was my first time meeting a black woman truck driver, and I still talk to her to this day. And mind you, this was back in 2015, y'all. Almost think about 8 years ago. I met this lady, and she talked to me then about the trucking industry, and she still drives now. And we talk about trucking. It's such a great lady. She was amazing. And actually working there and being around truck drivers, that's when I actually went and took my first CDL test. I was going through the school bus company. If you want a quick way to get your CDLs, this is free game, y'all. Go through the school bus company. They will train you and pay for your CDL school, and usually it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to do. And what you do, you get your class B, but you still are getting some sort of CDL training. And then whenever you're ready to move on to a tractor trailer, it would be a lot easier for you to transition. Now, you would probably have to take a few extra steps, but you would already have your CDLs. And you just have to, if you want to get your class A, then you would just find a company that's willing to upgrade you. And most of the times, trucking companies are more willing to upgrade your CDL license to class A versus paying for a full CDL school if you have no training. But anyways, I actually failed my first CDL test, and I was like, oh, trucking just ain't for me. I'm not gonna keep going through this. Isn't really not worth it. But I think things happen for a reason. So after I left Amazon, I went to this company that was brand new to the city. And what they do is they made bumpers for Volkswagen cars. And I was there for 3 years. And that was the worst 3 years of my life. I absolutely hate that job. And everybody I know, most people are there, but a lot of people aren't. I had to do paperwork and close my doors, but I'm gonna get ready to leave. But I am gonna finish this video. After I was at that job, and mind you, that job was plastic aluminum. I ain't afraid to call that name out because they screwed me over when I left. But I'm not finna get into it. I'm trying to change. I'm trying to be a better person. Mind you, I'm in a parking lot. I'm by myself. There's nothing out here but pallets. So I'm finna drive slow to the gate. Whew. So after I left there, I actually went back to school. I went back to school full time. And I mean full time too. And I did 2 semesters. Towards the end of my second semester, I found out I was pregnant with my son, my last child, my wild child. So I decided to not go back to school and go back to work. And that's when I started working at NISSAN. And I was doing the exact same thing I did at Plastic Aluminum. And I worked on the bumpers of the cars and whatever. I had my son, and then the pandemic happened right after I had my son. The pandemic happened right after I had my son. So I wasn't working for a while. I decided to stay at home and just, because I was breastfeeding and I just wanted to spend time with my baby. And then he turned 1. Did he turn 1 yet? Yeah, he turned 1, and then I decided, okay, well, it's time for me to start working again. So I was like, oh, Amazon has delivery drivers. That's interesting. So I applied there, got the job there, and that's when I started to drive for Amazon. And I quickly realized that I did not like it. And I needed more money because we had moved into a very expensive apartment, and I needed more money. So I was like, At first, I didn't want to drive the step van, but then I was like, I might as well just give it a shot. I done drove a U-Haul before. What could be the difference? Well, there's really no difference. If you can drive a big U-Haul, you can drive a step van, by the way. And I ended up doing the training for the step van and got my ELF endorsement. And then I was like, this ain't for me. This is not for me. So that's when I started working on getting my CDL license. I started taking all of my tests. And I started CDL school. And I started my first trucking job, which is this. And I've been here. It'll be a year next month. So yeah, that's all the jobs I've done. I've had a lot of jobs. I don't know. I didn't count how many jobs that was, but I put on the screen somewhere how many jobs that was. But I feel secure. I mean, I have my complaints, and we could talk about that in another video. But I feel very secure in my job. And yeah, so comment down below, how many jobs have you had? Are there any jobs similar to what I've done? Or just tell me what jobs you worked. And do you feel secure as a truck driver? Or do you feel like you're not going to be trucking for long? Because some people only do this for a short period of time. I'm good where I'm at, so I probably ain't going nowhere no time soon. But yes, thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye. Barely know how to spell. They don't have no common sense. Making decisions. And the truck drivers are the only ones that suffer from their bad decisions.